Welcome everyone to December 9th, Fierce Friday, our favorite time of the week. We are going to be talking about beauty is skin deep, right? And we're going to be talking and having amazing testimonials and exploring other skin issues, right? That I know have been affecting a lot of us. So I've been part of this council 2 years, and I've been part of Purium family for the past 6 years. And for me, it all began, of course, with trying to heal my body with superfoods. But when my mission really came into play was when my son was impacted and he had glyphosate toxicity. And the first time I heard about this, I honestly thought it was all made up because we ate super healthy. We were plant-based vegan family for the past 14 years. And I always thought, who eats healthier than us? We don't eat junk food. We're not eating sugar. And how could this affect my family? And here I was, the ultimate expert, and my son was suffering. He went to the bathroom 8 times a day. So he had that, and he had constipations. And he had eczema all over his body. I brought him to every specialist and no one could find a solution. They told me, it's normal. It happens to everyone. Just wait it out and he'll grow out of it. But you know what? I didn't take that for an answer. I started to do my own research and look for ways that can help my son and myself, right? Because when our kids are sick, it affects the entire family. And that's when I was approached by someone at a convention in Texas about Biomedic. She told me, why not just try it? And I took a look at ingredients and it was all food. So you know what I thought? Why not? I've tried everything else. And you know what? It didn't work. It didn't work. Everything topical, everything homeopathic, everything as natural as possible. So I tried it. Friday, I opened it. It was in a capsule. I put in his tofu scramble. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all of his issues went away. Once that happened, I contacted my upline, my husband, and I'm like, I'm all in. What is this? What is glyphosate? I need to share this with every single person I meet. So fast forward to today. Here I am years later. I share this with so many people, and there's so many amazing individuals and mamas like you out there who have this information, who are sharing it forward and giving the gift of truth to everyone around us. So we are going to get into our call to action, right? So I will pass it to Carmela to talk about it.
Thanks so much, Taz. I love this topic as well. It hit home immediately for me because I have had so many skin issues my entire life, and it was all gut health related. Little did I know and understand the gut, but we're going to get to talk about it today. So I'm going to bring up in the chat an article and take a look at it, save it to your device, because we want to bring you in the news pieces that you can share on to your family and friends as it relates to gut health. So we curate these articles where they validate and they really support the education that we're bringing to you with our organic superfood nutrition company. So are you able to see that, this article? Okay, so, well, there you go, Taz. It's the Canadian Digestive Health Foundation. And I know we've got other Canadians on the line right now, but we found this really wonderful article. And, you know, one of the biggest motivations to eat clean for many people, including myself and Taz, was a longing to have better looking skin. And I get asked all the time about, what do I eat? What do I do? Because my skin's glowing now, but it wasn't back then. And so many people struggle with this, like acne, rosacea, dry skin, wrinkles, eczema. So in this article, we're talking about the gut, brain, and skin axis. And did you know 70 years ago, there were dermatologists who'd actually suggested that there was an overlapping connection between the gut, mood disorders such as anxiety, depression, and skin conditions such as acne. They were ahead of their time, and they did only treat actually through the use of a specific Lactobacillus acidophilus, a common bacteria cultured in dairy foods at that time, which led them to some success. But since then, we've moved on. So here's some information about skin as it relates to the gut. Several lines of evidence have shown a connection between the gut problems, and recent studies have shown those with rosacea were 10 times more likely to have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, compared to those without rosacea. And the eradication of SIBO resulted in the complete elimination of this common skin disorder. And so many people wonder, well, what's SIBO and how does the gut affect? Well, I brought up this image so that we can see what the digestive tract looks like. And we're talking about bacteria in our gut. And we have bacteria along the entire length of our digestive tract, from snout to tail, as they call it. And the first 90% of the small intestine has 1,000 to 10,000 per 1 millimeter. So that's a lot. And then it increases towards the end of the small intestine, and it really takes off in the colon. So the colon is where we have a lot of bacteria, good bacteria or bad bacteria. And there's a galaxy that we're working with here. So just back to this article, IBS, which is very common with many people who you might know, 15 to 20% of people with ulcerative colitis as well, up to 25 to 30% of those with Crohn's, well, they all have skin conditions. So a study in 2012 demonstrated the unique connection between the skin and gut. You can click into these little tabs here and open them up, because I was enjoying reading this article a lot because it had a lot of good information. But the gut, what does it do? It provides a barrier between the interior of the digestive tract and the general circulation. And it's all that separates the contents of your intestinal tract from the rest of you. So this is a long tract with lots of bacterial opportunistic issues. And anything that irritates the lining of your gut can cause it to become inflamed. So anything like food allergens, alcohol, medications, antibiotics, common foodstuffs of the modern diet like additives and artificial coloring, as well as foodborne illnesses, food poisoning, or diets low in fiber and high in sugar, which are commonly culprits of this SIBO. So it gets inflamed and several things can happen, and it triggers an alarm bell, which ramps up the stress response, and it helps the body to fight. And basically it's supercharging your immune system. This becomes an autoimmune response. So in this article, they're talking about leaky skin. And I love this because this article really explains a lot in detail. And we're going to have really great testimonials that support this as well, because it plays a long time history of the connection here. Inflammation can impair the integrity and the protective role of our skin, and we need these defenses. When this happens, the skin produces, I love this, less of a naturally occurring antimicrobial peptide. Think of antibacterial proteins. It normally makes as a first line of defense. It usually makes it, but with the weakening of the defenses, skin infections can occur, and the worsening and weakening defenses will aggravate these skin inflammations further. I wish I'd known this years ago. So what are they saying in this article to do? Considering how intimately gut, skin, and brain are connected, good skin health and great complexion can only be achieved when you take an integrative functional approach. You need to consider not a topical, not just these oral different medications, but a functional approach where you need to consider all players and how they all work together. And we know it's our largest organ. Taz always says it's our mouth. It's good skin needs to include good skin care, but that includes minimizing gut irritation and inflammation as it relates to food, beverage, supplement and medication use, assesses to stress levels, and this includes sleep or lack thereof. Consider any undiagnosed food allergies and do what you can to support a healthy gut microbiota and bacterial population. So while eating nutritious food is important, it's not what you eat, but rather what you absorb. That's important. So this is one article I wanted to share, but we have one more. And I'm going to put it in the chat right now. A little birdie said, this is from the Birdie article, the gut-skin connection, how to glow from the inside out. Again, we're offering these articles to you because if you're sharing the replay, add these articles and have people really make that connection and see how many are talking about this already, such as a wellness expert who's a celebrity nutrition and holistic practitioner from the New York Times and best-selling author and founder of Soluna. So she talks about the gut-brain axis in this article, much like the other one. It pretty much says almost the same thing, but a bit less detail. So they're talking about the gut-skin axis as well. And, you know, as it relates to beauty, because I think what we're talking about here is the glow. And you can't really have that glow if there's so much inflammation and irritation. So I'm going to pass the mic back to Taz and let's continue on. I'm excited.
What a great article, Carmela. So that article is going to go into right what I'm talking about. So we are going to have incredible testimonials who have amazing skin journeys. So before getting to that, I want to break down a couple things so that when they say their testimonials, we have an idea exactly what they're talking about. So let me share my screen. And you guys all see that? Good, perfect. So what is the price of beauty actually costing us? Doesn't that make you think? When you go to a department store, I don't know about you guys, but we are being bombarded with all kinds of skincare solutions, right? Everything topical, from acne, sunspots, dermatitis. You go anywhere and you see it everywhere. You have all of these products for pigmentations that cost almost $400 a bottle. But what does that really do, right? We buy it thinking their promises is going to give us something, but it does not work, right? And what happens is that you become that person who's tried everything. I know that's what happened to me. So let's talk about what are we looking to solve? You know, there's acne, sunspots, dermatitis, anti-aging. And there's so many other things, right? Psoriasis, eczema, acne. So we're going to be looking at a couple of things. So just like what Carmela was talking about, have you ever heard of leaky skin? We know of the mind-gut connection, but leaky skin is something that I think we need to start addressing, okay? When there is distress in the gut, it affects the brain and the skin. And conversely, when someone is distressed, it affects the gut. So it becomes this never-ending effect. And where does it start healing? And I hear this all the time. Eczema is so common. It affects around 31 million Americans. Can you guys believe that? 31 million? And every single time you go and see your dermatologist to any type of doctor, they all say, it's okay. This happens to so many people. But you know what? Just because it's common does not mean it's normal. I suffered from eczema practically my whole life, and no one understands how much it impacts you until it impacts you. I had it on my entire face. They thought it was the lupus butterfly. It was all over my eyelids, all over my face. And it was very, very painful. And it was until I started addressing the gut issues and nutrition to help my body thrive and to achieve that glow, because these artificial glows don't do anything. We have to do it from the inside out. Okay, and an unhealthy gut, right? So that's what it's all about. So eczema and gut health connection. So that's what I was mentioning, that an unhealthy gut exacerbates eczema. And when the microbiome is healthy, the walls of the gut are strong. And when it's unhealthy, the lining thins, the lipopolysaccharides leaks out, and that causes inflammation, right? And we've all experienced that in some form. And there's so many ways that gut permeability can happen. So, you know, from stress to candida, all of these issues, there's so many things that can happen. And when you're going through eczema, it's very itchy. It looks horrible. So a lot of people ask me all the time, they're like, do you have pictures of your eczema? Well, you know what? I was so embarrassed of how I looked. I took no pictures. And in the article that Carmela was mentioning, that all of these issues leads to Crohn's. Well, you know what? I had Crohn's as well. One thing always leads to another. So I was going through these skin issues, and of course I had digestive issues. Of course I developed Crohn's, but I never linked them. And none of my doctors ever linked them as well. All they did was prescribe cortisone creams, and the cortisone creams actually depleted me more. It made me more exhausted. I started developing adrenal fatigue because of that. So that's really important to know how all of those medications are causing more harm and more leaky gut, leaky skin. Okay, how about rosacea? Okay, so what is it? Okay, do we really know what rosacea is? So the first sign of rosacea is redness, and it appears like a blush, sunburn across your nose and your cheeks, forehead, maybe your chin. And it becomes, there's pus, you might have some small blood vessels, and it might be red or thick and swollen, okay? It may be irritated, inflamed, and on your eyelids. And how many times have you heard that the cause of this is unknown, right? Have we heard that? Drop me a 1 if we've heard that. Well, why is this happening to me? Can you give me a reason why this happened? Well, you know what? We just don't know. I've heard that so many times that I always come to a pause with, but how don't we know? Shouldn't we have a root cause of what is actually going on here? But just to dismiss it, it's always, we don't know. It happens to many. There's unknown reasons, right? And if you're suffering with rosacea and experiencing any of these issues, chances are you have bloating, gas, cramps, diarrhea, food intolerance, reflux, constipation. I mean, the list goes on. So always link it back to your gut. And in my experience, so to link with Carmela's article, that rosacea is very linked to the microbial growth of SIBO and H. pylori. So always link them together, okay? And then you can develop different allergies and other food sensitivities. So, you always have to include micronutrients in your food, zinc, vitamin A, the omegas. We'll talk more about that. How about psoriasis, right? Psoriasis is something that, so it's a chronic autoimmune disease that causes the cell to turn over very quickly. And a lot of people confuse psoriasis with eczema. So the difference is that psoriasis, it just looks a little different, okay? It's more thick, patchy, dry, scaly skin, okay? And it continues to accumulate on your skin surface. And it's a more thicker patches than eczema. Because I have a lot of people, they're like, I might have eczema or I might have psoriasis, but the way they appear are very different. And we always need to be addressing this leaky gut aspect. And look at your gut dysbiosis. And when I say that, I'm talking about the imbalance of your gut. Is there yeast overgrowth, parasites, insignificant vitamins, right? There's all of these things that we need to look at. The vitamin A, folate, B12s, all of your antioxidants. And what's the most important ones? Your pre and probiotics. And you need to be repairing your gut permeability. So this is something that I missed when I was trying to heal myself. Gut permeability, I heard about pro and prebiotics. So everyone told us, have kimchi, have lactobacillus, that's going to be helping. Yes, but you need to be repairing your gut, right? And this is where Biomedic, which is our favorite pre and probiotic, that repairs our gut permeability as well. Okay, so this one is going to be, I think, a treat for us, because I don't think a lot of us have heard about this. It's called tinea vesicolor, okay? And what is it? And we have an incredible testimonial that I would love for all of us to hear. So it's small, pale, dark tan patches on the skin. And you know what it's caused by? It's a fungus on the skin. So you know, ringworm and all of those things, it's the same family of that. And it's caused by gut disorder. It is a gut disorder. And UTI, SIBO, IBS, all of these things usually follows with that. Okay, so now let's get into our testimonials. Okay, before our testimonials, I want to talk about our collagen, our nutrients, okay? Our 30-day nutrition with our collagen, right? You remember I was talking about all the nutrient deficiency that we experience going through this? So we have certain ways that we can help rebuild our system and our skin from the inside out. Let's start targeting our leaky gut and leaky skin. And the way to do that is to use our phytonutrients, to use our green juice, to use our pure protein, our biomedic, which is our pre and probiotic, our chlorella, everything together. I will explain to you. Okay, so the Renew is something that I love for skin discoloration. So MSM is an ingredient that's inside, and that is sulfur, okay? And that helps skin discoloration. So this, I had sunspots all over my face, and they told me the only thing to get rid of that would be laser. And I didn't do laser. All I did was flood my body with nutrition. All I did was flood my body through nutrition. I have to mute someone, sorry. All I did was flood my body with nutrition. And horsetail helps eczema. So if we're looking at the packs and you're going through any of these, choose the ones that have everything complete. So the chlorella, the Renew, the BioRegen, and BioRelax is actually my favorite for anyone who's going through any of these issues, okay? So you have the horsetail that helps eczema. You have the dandelion that helps skin damaged by the sunlight and acne. The saw palmetto is an essential fatty acid. The kelp helps anti-inflammatory and protects the UV rays and environmental issues. The ginger is antifungal or antibacterial. So anyone who's going through any of the issues where I was mentioning before, if you've used this and you had great success, now you can start linking. Okay, I used that, and that's why that helped. It had anti-inflammatory properties, it had all the nutrition, and maybe it was antifungal as well. The grapeseed extract, it's vitamin E. It's lutein. It's skin hydration, and it protects against blue light and oxidative stress. So blue light is like the television, the computer, you know, you have those glasses. So lutein actually helps protect against that. And then you have the BioRelax, okay? So the BioRelax, the cranberry helps boost your collagen, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and it helps clear pores. So if you're going through acne, this is a great one to add into your toolbox as well. The Passiflora has omega-6, and it helps sunburn. So if you have that thin skin from rosacea, this is actually really good for that. And then you have the hyaluronic acid, which helps heal wounds fast, and it helps scarring. So we know when you're going through all those sunspots, this helps that. And the kava helps fungus from reproducing. How amazing is that? So now are you starting to understand how everything is connected? Okay, so I will have Kim come on and share her story. Okay, let me unshare. Sorry, stop sharing. Okay, so Kim.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And I'm so grateful to be here on the Million Mom Movement, helping others with their skin issues today. My name is Kim Lemberg, and I'm a functional wellness coach, and I have a story to share, my own. December is a very emotional month for me because it was 1 week before Christmas in 2004 when I got diagnosed with a devastating, incurable, chronic inflammatory skin condition called acne rosacea. And there were no holiday pictures for me. I was very depressed. So rosacea became dramatic. It started slowly and then became dramatic, where coworkers and strangers were asking me, what's wrong? What disease do you have? You don't know what disease you have? What's wrong with your face? Do you have lupus? Well, I got scared and I saw a dermatologist, one with no bedside manners. I mean, she was really overtaken by my appearance. In fact, when she entered into the room and saw me, her face said it all. She was like, and of course I got really, scared, and she put her hand on my chin and she turned my face like this from side to side. And she said, "You have acne rosacea. There is nothing that you can do. There is no cure. And you're just going to have to live with this condition for the rest of your life. And good luck." And she handed me a brochure. And when I opened the brochure, there were other people with this condition, and their faces looked like they were caught in a fire and were disfigured. And she said, "This is where you're headed. This is what you're going to look like. This is your future." And she wrote out some drugs for me to take, which were oral and topical antibiotics and steroids. And I asked her, I said, "Does food or lifestyle have anything to do with this condition?" And she said, "No." She says, "We have no idea what causes it, and good luck." Whew. Now, I only have about 5 minutes, so I'm going to keep this short, and I wish I had more time to talk about rosacea. But how did I get into trouble? Like, I knew at that moment that it was up to me to get myself well, and that I made a promise that if I could, that I would help others. I would devote the rest of my life to helping others do the same. Now, I was already on so many meds and antibiotics. From mold toxicity, I had irritable bowel syndrome, eye problems, yeast, candida, fungal overgrowth, and more drugs was just not an option for me. I knew that they were only going to cause me further depletion, create more of that fungal overgrowth that would weaken my immunity further and damage my liver and gut. So antibiotics are dangerous mold. Now, drugs are temporary and they do not get to the root cause. Now, I learned its root cause, but that this is not a skin problem or just a rash. This isn't poison ivy. This is a whole body problem. It's an immune system problem, a digestive problem, an adrenal problem, a liver problem. I mean, women get this in menopause. And people get this after mold experience, this acne, rosacea. So I work with the solutions. It's the nutritional therapies that we share here in the Million Mom Movement. And what that does is it addresses the skin issues at the root. It addresses the toxicity. It addresses the gut. It addresses the chronic inflammation. It addresses nutritional deficiencies. And it also addresses the pathogens, the mold, the fungus, the parasites, the yeast. So what I used, and now I personally recommend, is the ultimate lifestyle transformation plus immune. It's really important that we go in there and really address skin issues. So if you have skin issues or know someone that does, at the root, and also really support the immune system. And the dark berry protein with all those antioxidants really nourishing and feeding your skin, plus the renew hair, nail, and skin. This is what this is foundational. This is foundational nutrition to really support at the root cause of these skin issues, to really deeply nourish and provide us with the minerals and the vitamins that feed our skin. So if anybody's out there suffering, I feel for you. I know what it's like, but there is faith, and just know that you can have healthy, radiant skin, just like we're all sharing today, that you can.
Thank you so much, Kim. Can you tell us a little bit of how long it took for you?
Well, I started seeing changes within 30 days. And then 3 months, I saw more changes, 6 months. But I would say I was deeply, like toxic with, like I said, it's a many body systems that rosacea or skin issues affect before you're seeing it on the skin. So within like 90 days, nobody knew that I had it, but to really repair and restore the gut, it took about a year.
Wow. Yeah, I love that it takes time, right? And everyone needs to know that. And a lot of people are asking in the chat, do you have before and after pictures?
I do not, because I, like you, Taz, I was embarrassed. I was devastated. I was depressed. I did not want any pictures. And I love the camera and I love pictures, but I was in a dark hole for a while until I figured out how to get myself out of trouble.
Absolutely. So we will have one more testimonial with Allison, and then at the end, we will open it up to a Q&A. If you guys have questions for these ladies, they will answer them, okay? So Allison, I would love to hear your story.
Wow, Kim, I really relate with what you said. I remember clearly looking in the mirror and saying, if my skin cleared up, I would be grateful every single day. I actually said I would never complain about anything. And I've held that promise. I've been the most grateful person since my skin cleared up. Because it greatly affects deeply your self-esteem and everything very, very deeply. So it started for me with acne, you know, probably around puberty, and it was so bad. I was so embarrassed all the time. They, you know, also said there was nothing they could do. There was just nothing they could do. They put me on Accutane at 15 years old. And there was no warning. I did the research later to find out about the gut damage that does, but no one prepared me for the depression that followed that. And then of course, later on I was put on antidepressants, but that's a whole other story. Then it led to, so what happens, because Accutane is also, it makes your skin more sensitive, and I would go out in tan. And then, so I developed this tinea versicolor, what Taz said in a much more beautiful way, versicolore. I developed when I was out in the sun, and you know, I was eating the standard American diet. I was wearing probably like those really toxic sunscreens and banana boat. And I started to develop these white spots in my skin that never tanned. They would just stay white. And my mother had this as well. So I just thought it was genetic. Yeah, we have some examples. So this one here under my arm was actually called that. I wasn't sure if this was psoriasis or eczema, depending on different people, but you can see the white spots. There's another picture where you see the white spots really clearly, but so then it turned into, so this issue here with anyways, it turned into basically, it would get raised and itchy and inflamed, and then it was called eczema. Okay, so then, you know, the same kind of, because it was weird, because the same pattern, but then it was raised at some points, it would be called eczema by different doctors. And then other doctors I would go to, and this was spreading all over my body up until just a few years ago. So by the time I was in my 30s, it was really bad. I share it on my, I don't know if Taz, you have that picture of where it was really bad. Yeah, it's a little blurry there, but it was really bad there. But anyways, I, you know, would go to different doctors. They would all tell me different things. Some would tell me this is tinea versicolor. Some would tell me this is eczema. Some would say it was psoriasis. And they would give me, you know, topical creams. No one said anything about diet or there was anything I could do. I was also living in the basement, and the basements are notorious for black mold. So that was something that no one ever considered to, you know, I was living in basements. And then again, when we had kids, I was living in another apartment, which we found out had black mold in it. Okay, so then when Taz came into my life, she had amazing skin. And I was like, whatever you're doing. And she shared about her son's eczema, and I was really inspired. And that's really what actually brought me into the ultimate lifestyle transformation. And I saw results really quickly, like in the eczema, which I had between my fingers, went away actually within, I can't really remember exactly, but it was like within a few days to weeks, it started to go away. And the tinea versicolor didn't. Okay, yeah, so this I had, you know, really, it was very painful between my fingers, always bleeding. And so I couldn't give my kids a bath. I couldn't do anything. It was very, very painful. And basically, so I was just, I was really happy with the results of the eczema and that my skin acne scars were clearing up. So that alone, I was just thrilled with, but I pretty much accepted that the tinea versicolor wasn't gut related because I didn't know this information. And I still was like, it's not really going away. I kind of thought, well, this is what I have to, like everything else is good. I'm not going to complain. I'll live with the versicolor, whatever. But it doesn't end there because I stayed consistently on it. Like it went away. And I want to say something else actually about it. So a few weeks after my ULT, and Taz will remember this, I called her and I was like, I got a flare up of eczema on my eyelids. And I was like, Taz, I'm getting like eczema's coming back. And she was like, don't worry. She was so calming. She was just like, don't worry. Just keep going. She's like, it's normal that it can get worse before it gets better. And that was the best advice ever because I would have maybe stopped. A lot of people, they see a reaction and they're like, okay, this is, I can't do this anymore. But because Taz had such confidence, I believe I just did it. And because I stayed consistently on it, I've been living this lifestyle for 4.5 years. And 2 years ago was when I woke up. So this is 2.5 years into my lifestyle. I realized at one point, and I'm in the sunshine, I'm in I think I was in Belize or something. And I was like, I'm in the sun and my white spots aren't coming out. They used to always really get prominent in the sun. And I was like, oh my God. And I was waiting for it to come back. Well, it's been 2 years. It's never come back. And I really feel it in my body that there's no, there's just no sign of it. So I feel completely freed from it. It's amazing. I feel so liberated and I'm grateful every single day that I trusted the process and that I trusted Taz and that Taz shared this with me. And that's what I live to share forward.
What an incredible story. And with you both, you hear that you need to do this consistently, right? You can't just decide to embark on the 30-day challenge and expect miracles to happen, right? Because sometimes what happens, you must get worse before you get better, right? You have to keep doing at minimum 30 days. You did 2 to 4 years consistently to finally see change. You didn't even expect this. You just woke up one morning, you're like, what? This is amazing. Right? And Kim, at least 90 days for you to start seeing effects. This is consistent work with everything, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Isn't that what we say with our teams? And it's the same thing. So if you are going to start embarking on this new lifestyle change, this is what it is. It's a lifestyle. You need to include these foods into your daily life. Yes, eat. This is not about dieting. This is not about deprivation. This is about addition and whole food nutrition. And once you start adding the right minerals and vitamin that your body needs, the right fatty acids, all the zinc, all the nutrition, then you start to see real glow, right? Because the body is starting to repair itself. When something happens on your skin, which is your largest organ, it's because other things are happening with it, right? So I'll open it up to the field. If you have any question for these ladies, please.
Can I add something?
Yes, absolutely.
I would love to add that when we actually went, we went on a trip and I didn't have Biomedic for Junie and her eczema came back. And as soon as that was when I really knew the eczema was 100 billion% gut, because as soon as she went back on the Biomedic, it went away completely. And it's just like, sometimes we just need that like little confirmation there again, but yeah.
Thank you. That's exactly it. Because sometimes you're like, well, is it really working? And you do a trial and error on yourself and you stop it and you're like, oh, it's back. Okay, so it was working, right? So that's a great experiment to do on yourself. Okay, so let's open it up. So just raise your hand, I'll unmute you if you have any questions for these ladies or anyone else.
I'm just going to unmute. I don't have my camera on, but I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing all your stories, because as a brand partner, I have people coming to me with all sorts of different, very serious issues, and some of them are not issues that I've experienced. So it's really helpful for me to meet people who have these things going on so that I know that I can help people. And I also am fully aware that it always comes back to the gut health. And I've been a Purium customer for 4 years, and I only joined the team of brand partners 4 months ago. So I'm part of the pool of us who knows the power of this absolutely life transforming system. And I patiently wait for all the people in my life to listen to me because I feel like I have the solution. And sometimes it's very difficult to communicate everything you know to ears that are unwilling to listen. And speaking to the biomedic too, I did that experiment of going on and off biomedic and really started to understand by doing that what it was doing in my body, and also why I will be on it forever. Because they're finding trace amounts of glyphosate in Antarctica where there are no crops. So this is pervasive. And if we know that only 4 to 6% of the food industry is organic, then it really is super important for us to be very loud about spreading the message before the future generations don't have the option to heal themselves, because we are voting with our dollars. So I appreciate everybody sharing so much and just sending so much love to you. And it makes me really happy to know that you were able to overcome these severe skin disorders using this line. It's beautiful, and it's hard to have skin issues when it's what people are looking at first. And it does have a devastating impact on the self-esteem. So awesome shares, an amazing tool. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Crystal, for that comment. Toxic buildup is no joke. And that's what happens. People don't realize what's going on in their body until if it appears on their skin, then they're like, well, maybe now I should do something about it. But don't wait until you get a diagnosis to make change in your life. Okay, Sarah.
Hi, loves. Hi, MMM. Thank you for having me. Movement of Mini. I was just going to confirm kind of the same. I didn't have a question. In the order, because I was a recipient winner, and I guess I didn't understand what that meant fully. So I got my first ULT. I started changing my life, but then I got a little crazy. Like, let's order this, this, and this. And I didn't get my Biomedic and my Power Shake the next month. And so I had to manage. So I had Aloe Digest. I had things that helped, and I was eating all these greens. So not only did my body go back, so it was neuropathy, pain, and skin reactions that I kept having that had gone away, and now these came back, and it was like full force. Like, I called Carmela, my upline, and was just like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And she was just kind of helped me guide how I could replenish myself in this way. But it was also eye-opening too to the finances, how much I had to eat to replenish what I was taking in just my shake, and then the Biomedic, of course. And so when I got my Biomedic and Power Shake, I immediately started taking again, and nerve reaction, pain, neuropathy, and skin reactions went back to away again forever. And so that was my testament to, was oh my, mind blown. So now I make sure I have my daily core 4 no matter what, every month. That is my baseline, and then I expand from there.
I love that. It's so important once you get off it and you start realizing, okay, this is necessary for my daily routine, right? Once you start making it part of your daily routine, you don't realize how much your body needs it until it's not there. Right? Isn't that true for everything in our life? So that's why I love how they designed this ultimate lifestyle transformation plus the collagen pack, because now they've just made it so simple for us to just get everything together with the bio region, with the bio relax. So the bio relax is a great alternative to the apothecary, especially when you're traveling, because when you're traveling, you can't bring that bottle, right? So just bring the bio relax with you, and it's so complete. I think there's one pack as well that has a super xanthan with the chlorella, and this is all designed to tighten your skin and act as a natural sunscreen, because we don't need to be putting this toxic sunscreen on our skin, right? What we put on our skin is actually going in our digestive tract. So reevaluate everything you put on your skin and that you eat. They all work synergistically together. We have more questions. I know these ladies have a lot to say.
I can just add a few things that I've been taking that like I know is like, so I've been taking the hair, skin, and nails for also 2 years now. And I'm so excited about the new pack. And it's like with also the Bio Relax and the Regen, I've been also, I swear by. I've also been using the Super Xanthan every day, the Zinc Aid, and extra aminos as well. So, and also all the dark greens, like the Camu is non-negotiable. And so it's like, it's not just the ULT, it's really, there's so many other products in the line that you need in your arsenal. Like there's just, they have so many, oh, and the carrot juice as well. Like I love the carrot for the vitamin A and the carotenoids, amazing.
Yes. How about you, Kim? Do you have anything else to add? I know you had a lot to share. So if you would like to share now, you can do that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I use the Super Xanthan. I mean, I use a lot more that's in our line than what I presented on today. But for someone getting started, I find that starting there, with the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation plus Immune, and then the collagen, pack, and is a great place to start. But then, adding on, and I like the juice bar in a bag. I love the, Super Xanthan, all of that for just really just solid nutrition and really good skin health. But I do find that there are a lot of nutritional deficiencies when it comes to people who have, skin issues for sure. And this is a way to make sure that you're getting this into your body and it's already, a digestible form. So you are getting these proper vitamins, minerals that are needed.
So I remember when I was talking to you, you were sharing with me how you were trying other things before getting on this lifestyle. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. So when I started, because it was back in 2004, if Purium was around, I didn't know about it. And I really wish that I had Purium, because there was no protocol for me. And I was doing this at first pretty much on myself. So I found the best way that I could learn how to start this detoxification process was I found a practitioner who did colon hydrotherapy. So I did a series of colonics, and I started on a raw and living food lifestyle. And that was great because it did help to cool things down. It did help to, cleanse. And I was eating, just real whole food, unaltered, in its natural state. But what I didn't have was I didn't have the proper aminos like we do in this protocol. It's very hard to get that on a raw and living food diet, let alone it's very time consuming. So all the juicing, all the dehydrating, all the sprouting and waiting, for days to eat sometimes because of that whole process. The only way that I was really able to do it fully was because I was full of anxiety. I was really depressed. I really thought at that moment, I kept hearing her saying that this was what I was going to look like and looking at that brochure. And so I got, really nervous and scared, and I had to take a leave of absence from work because I had, feelings of, suicidal feelings. So I put that self-love back into myself. And I said, I'm going to change this outcome. That will not be my future. And so I started and embarked on a living, raw food, but I didn't have the aminos, like I was saying, so it's really hard to get your proper, protein and amino acids. I was not eating foods in regenerative soil. I might've been eating organic, but that doesn't mean regenerative soil. So I wasn't getting the chemical pesticides, but I wasn't getting all those minerals that tend to be deficient in when it comes to skin issues. And I wasn't able, I didn't have the cleansar, so I wasn't able to really address the parasites and the yeast and the fungal overgrowth. And I don't believe that I was doing at that time pre and probiotic, which is in the biomedic that really helps with the glyphosate and an explosion of lactobacillus and all those, soil-based probiotics that we need to really restore the gut. But that was the best that I could do at the time. And so now it's like, I am so grateful and so happy to have Purium in my life personally. And now, being able to help others as well.
Amazing. I love hearing your story. And every time I hear your story, Allison's story, like it solidifies everything we're doing and how skin health is gut health. And then the more we start understanding that, now we can create real change. And you know what? A lot of these skin issues have a lot to do with low stomach acid as well. And that's another reason why I love the dark berry. So the dark berry has all the phytonutrients, the protein, the MCT oil, and it has digestive enzymes to help break down the protein. Is that
That's
amazing?
right. And can I add one other thing? Because with the raw and living food lifestyle being that it's so time consuming, Purium is that. It is our raw food or living foods, lifestyle, but it all comes together. It's all done for you in the best, even better in the best possible way. So how easy is it to just incorporate and add into your life? And that is what I love about it as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's pick, if no one has any more questions, and if we don't have any questions in the chat, council members, let me know if I missed any questions in the chat.
I just wanted to say something, Taz. Like years ago, when I had first started, and I've been in the company now for 8.5 years, Dave had a skincare line. And many of you don't know this, but they took it out because they wanted to focus on nutraceuticals as far as like oral nutrients, but I loved it. And I knew the reason why I really believed in the BioRegen and BioRelax when it was released was because Dave was a part of the aesthetics board in our country. And he was very responsible. As much as he was lobbying for the organic certification stamp, he was also lobbying for us to take out chemicals in our aesthetics and cosmetics. So you can really feel confident that what we put into our ingredients also very greatly affects our skin. And I wanted to speak to, I love that we created that signature collagen pack because it has the BioRegen and the Relax in there. And I feel like when people look at our line, there's so many other wonderful highlighted products, but we kind of don't think about those two products. But why BioRegen works so well is it has a really powerful antioxidant called superoxide dismutase, and it really eradicates free radical damage at a high level. So if you want anti-aging, you should try that for a minimum of 60 days to 90 days. And in that pack, they have our trace minerals. And I was, really looking at the link between trace minerals and our skin. It helps us to really fight excessive sun exposure, wrinkles, and maintaining the moisture. So I think that's what a lot of people with skin issues experience, including myself, who had atopic dermatitis, was the really dry, itchy, uncomfortable feelings. But when I was incorporating trace minerals into every shake that I drank, it changed. I stopped itching. It was really clear that I was just very mineral depleted. Pass the word.
So true. So mineral depletion, this is what it's all about, right? Leaky gut, this is what it means. The zinc, the magnesium, the selenium. We tell people add a couple Brazil nuts. Well, you know what? That's from our ionic elements. Just take a couple of drops of that because our waters are so depleted as well. So it all works so well together. I like looking at this as our food pyramid, right? I know we all can agree. Okay, so shall we choose someone to read the pledge? Who would like to read the pledge? Let's see.
You can raise your hand, or if you could unmute.
I just wanted to throw something in before somebody reads this pledge because I think it's important. I know a lot of people like to mix different products together in Purium because they taste good, but I just wanted to add that I have tried mixing both water and aloe vera to the green spectrum and using it as a face mask, and it left my skin really beautiful. I don't know if anyone wants to try that, but there's nothing in the green spectrum that could hurt your skin from the outside.
Well, there's nothing from Purion that can hurt your skin from the outside. So I would recommend trying it all. And we have a product called 40X Aloe. You can even add that inside as well, if you want to amp it up a notch. Okay. How about Alice Carter? Would you like to read the pledge?
I would be honored. Thank you. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
I could listen to your voice forever. You're so calming. Thank you so much, Alice. So I'll pass it to you, Naiva, to do our call to action.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Taz. What a beautiful presentation. Thank you, Kim and Allison, for everything you shared, and Sarah and everybody who spoke today. Really great information. And I just dropped in the comments what we're going to be doing for our call to action. So if you'll go copy that, if you're on here on your phone, you can go ahead and copy it. And I'm going to ask you to go ahead and go over to Instagram. So right now, if you're not on your phone, grab your phone and go over to Instagram. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. So this is the article that we've been sharing from for the past 3 or 4 months now, where we're aligning with the Detox Project and doing a call to action weekly. And we really ask for your help in this, because the more voices, the louder we can be, and the more traction we're going to create in these companies that are still including ingredients that contain glyphosate in it. So what this article is from the Detox Project is an article that shows many of the stores that are still selling products, foods that contain glyphosate. And it shows right here the parts per billion of glyphosate that it contains. And this week we're focusing on number 37 and 38. So we're getting to the bottom of this particular list, where we're getting into the lower parts per billion, and the safe limit is 10 parts per billion. So we're glad that we're getting down to this lower part of the list where maybe it's not so bad, but they are still including ingredients that contain glyphosate, which is still a concern to us, because any amount of glyphosate is not good for us. So the call to action is on Whole Foods. And today we're going to be calling out the 365 brand whole steel cut oats, which are non-GMO and organic. So we've shared this before. It's a huge concern because non-GMO doesn't mean glyphosate free. And we'd like to think that organic means that it doesn't have glyphosate, but in some cases that is not true. And so we're here to just share the information and do a call to action to ask them to remove the toxic ingredients from their foods. So today's call to action is at Whole Foods. If you'd please grab your phone, go to Instagram, find the Whole Foods page, and we're actually going to go to this 5th post where it has this beautiful lady with the Whole Foods sign. So what is she doing? She is actually bringing attention to all the healthy choices they have at Whole Foods. What a great post to comment on, right? So you'll see right here, as the Million Mom Movement, I just went and created a post. This is the post that I put in the comments. So if you'd like to grab it, you can go copy it and paste it over here or make it your own. And we just want to bring more voices to this page so that Whole Foods knows that we're concerned as a community. And it's not just the Million Mom Movement, it's all of you that are within our community of the Million Mom Movement, because every one of you is part of our voting voice, right? We're all voting with our dollar. We're all sharing our voice and sharing what's important to us. So each one of you commenting on this is going to show Whole Foods, wow, there's actually a large community of people that are concerned about this issue. And to take it a step further, we always ask that if you want to take a screenshot of what you posted, share it in your stories, tag the Million Mom Movement. We'd love to share that in our stories to show everyone what you're saying. And then, of course, if Whole Foods responds to you, take a second screenshot, share in your stories, tag us again so we can share that as well, because we'd love to also see their responses. So we're so grateful to have you all as part of our community here. And that's our call to action for today. So we're so grateful for each and every one of you. And I'll pass it back to you, Taz, to announce next week's presentation.
Thank you so much. So next week, December 16th, we are going to talk about kids first and family health focus. This is going to be really exciting. And if your kids are home, have them be on this call with us so they get to feel how we live as a community. And reach back to the person who invited you here and join our Facebook group on Instagram and hashtag Million Mom Movement, and Naiva will be reposting you. So thank you all. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.